Hello everybody, it's me, GhostCritic. A day late with my comic book reviews, but it's here. I'm ready. I've got 5 books to talk about. If you watch my Wednesday's video, you will know exactly what's coming up. Just want to remind you that the end of this month is my 7-year YouTube-versary. I've been here for 7 years uploading videos about all the comic book things that I pick up and talk about. So I'm throwing out a Q&A. I'm going to be answering all your questions about comic books or pop culture related topics. I'd rather you didn't put questions up like what are your top 5 favourites or top 10 favourites, because that makes it incredibly long and a lot of hard work for me too. So let's veer away from those, but love the questions that I've already been asked so far. They will be coming up in a video at the end of the month. So keep them coming and we'll make this a big blockbuster of a Q&A. 2 more things. One, I hope you won't be able to hear it, but next tour I've got the builders in. They are banging, they are drilling. I hope it doesn't relate onto the screen and you don't hear it that much. I'm going to try and ignore it and not be unfocused. I can hear it now, but oh well. And secondly, this is a comic book review video, which means there will be spoilers. I'll be talking plot lines, I'll be talking storylines, I'll be talking cliffhangers. So if you've not read any of my books, as you see them come up in my hand, pause the video, go and read your books, or just forward fast it a little bit and go on to the next one. So without further ado, let us kick off with our first book from Marvel. It's issue 10 of Silver Surfer. Dan Slott and the Allreds doing their kooky psychedelic space adventures. And I'll say this first off, I do always kind of talk about how I would appreciate the stories to have a little bit more gravitas and not these kind of silly, kooky, hip type storylines. I don't know really how else to describe it, but it's not that I'm not having fun with this book, because there are some great stuff going on here. The Allreds art is fantastic. In this issue we have Galactus coming back into the fray, but not as you would imagine. I presume you've got to have read other books. Apparently this fits in with the Ultimates. I've not been reading that, but apparently now Galactus is good. He's got himself a nice new yellow costume, but he's now no longer kind of like the bringer of death and doom, but the bringer of life. And he calls upon his once herald Silver Surfer to help him out, because due to something that went on in the Ultimates that I'm not quite sure and not quite grasping, but we have these 2 elements, Alphex and Omicron, and as they're coming closer together, they will, if they touch and reform, they will basically suck in the whole universe and there will be nothing there. And at the moment Galactus is trying his hardest to keep them apart. And along comes Silver Surfer and Dawn to give a helping hand, but this pushes them to opposite ends of the universe, the far reaches where Silver Surfer has never gone before, and of course Dawn is on the opposite end of the furthest part of the universe you can think of, and you just wonder how they are going to get back. And they introduce a great character in Eternity, and who kind of gives a helping hand once Silver Surfer decides to go, look, I've done so much for you over the decades, I've never asked for anything back, it's time for you to, you know, give something back to me. And with the help of Eternity, the 2 are brought back together again. Gorgeous. I love this idea of Eternity and all the kind of universes and planets being part of his body, and bringing his fingers together, bring our hapless duo back together. This has been great in kind of keeping our two main characters together and the bond and the relationship that they have got now, being, I guess you could call them lovers. They are in a relationship, and this kind of being apart so far and not thinking they're going to be back together again makes that bond between them all the more stronger. The thing with Dan Slott, and he does this in so many of his other works, he kind of drops potential kind of hints about what might be coming in the future. And this felt like there was a tiny little bit in here as Eternity kind of says, well, I'll do this one time. And you just wonder, has the Silver Surfer wasted an opportunity for the help from Eternity? Is there something bigger and badder in the future that Silver Surfer could have really done with Eternity's help? Again, great artwork by the Allreds, fun, bright, bold, just really fun comic book stuff. I have a feeling this current volume probably will be coming to an end very soon, and this is Dan Slott building up to the big climax of this particular volume. But good stuff nonetheless. I enjoyed it, and that's what I want from my comic books. Moving on to the two DC books I picked up this week, starting with The Flash, issue number 20. And I just love these obvious kind of red herring covers with it saying Iris West, Agent of Black Hole, ? And you know she's not. You know this is a kind of, like I said, it's a red herring. It's made it to look like she's kind of gone to the other side, so to speak. But the thing that's going on with this book at the moment that Joshua Williamson seems to be building on is very much the characteristics and personality of Barry Allen. Everyone's talking about how honest and kind of pure he is, when in fact he is actually probably one of the most dishonest characters. He still hasn't let Iris know that he is actually the Flash, and there is a mistake, not mistaken identity, but Iris has taken the wrong kind of idea in her head about what Barry Allen is up to. There is this element that, does she realise now that Barry is actually the Flash? Well, no, not after this storyline, which is almost a done-in-one. It does reflect past storylines with the Black Hole. What we have in this issue is someone is digging up dead bodies, particularly those that were killed by Godspeed taking the powers that they had in the first storyline, where everyone suddenly became the Flash, or versions of the Flash, and they are using the dead bodies for some insane kind of experiment to harness the Speed Force. So Iris, as a kind of news journalist, goes undercover to find the story behind all this, and she has to infiltrate Black Hole, hence she's in the cover, and it almost looks like she's going to shoot the Flash, but it's all one big plan between them both because they're so connected. But good stuff again. I particularly like Neil Gouge on this artwork. He's a new artist on this book. It's more cleaner art style. There's not so much of Flash's kind of lightning going all over the place. It's a lot more condensed and subdued, where and you can see much more what's going on in the book rather than past artists' frenetic use of the Speed Force on the page. But I like it. Of course, the big cliffhanger at the end is the reintroduction of a character we initially thought was dead, and that was past girlfriend of Barry Allen. God, he's got through them already, even in this volume. But it's Mina, Dr. Mina Dharma, I think her name was, but she's decked out in this black Flash outfit. Is she working for the other side? Is she, just as Iris is doing, but doing a better job at it, infiltrating the kind of evil side of Black Hole and their experiments, trying to find out what the hell is going on. That is for Joshua Williamson to give out to us issue after issue of what has been a great series. Really enjoying The Flash. So the other DC book that I'm picking up at the moment is, of course, Greg Rucka's Wonder Woman, also at issue number 20. We're coming nearly to the end of Rucka's run on this. I believe it's finishing about issue 26, and given that these come out pretty much bi-weekly, we haven't really got that much long to go. This issue sees part 3 of Godwatch, the story that's set in the past, the kind of like beginnings of Wonder Woman being on Earth and being kind of like this strong female superhero, and right at the beginning we have this kind of short-lived battle fight with Cheetah. It really doesn't go on long enough to have any like serious impact, but does leave Wonder Woman wondering, you know, what we're going to do with Cheetah next. But this particular issue is primarily focused on Veronica. She is part of the is it Empire Industries, and her daughter, who two of the kind of godlike individuals have managed to take her face. She's basically a blank face, no eyes, no facial features. And she's been trying to go from doctor to doctor to find a cure, which, come on now, you've basically got a curse on your daughter. They've taken all facial features away from them. I don't think a doctor is going to know how to cure that. So she looks at summoning yet another of Wonder Woman's long-term villainesses. And that comes in the guise of Circe. She made her first appearance all the way back in 1949 of Wonder Woman, and has been a long suffering villain in Wonder Woman's Rogues Gallery. She's kind of this evil sorceress type character, and she's here to help Veronica get her daughter's face back, and that means entrapping those two brothers, the kind of godlike individuals who have trapped it in this crystal. Another great issue, pacing really good, building up to the big climax of Circe using black magic, Wonder Woman's powers, to trap and ensnare these two brothers in the guises of dogs, no less, so they can get the staff and the crystal. But that crystal has a crack in it. There's nothing in it anymore. So who and where has the face of poor Veronica's daughter gone? Well, I'm sure we'll find out by the end of Rucka's run. But again, much excitement, much fun, some more great art by Everly here, doing some fantastic full page spreads there. Really like that. Full of action, very kinetic, very colourful. Just really enjoying Rucka and Everly's run on this book. Penultimate issue for me to review this week. It comes from Colin Bunn and Georges Molina and Matteo Bofagni, which is X-Men Blue. No, Colin Bunn is not doing a porno version of X-Men. This is a new #1 centering on the young original teenage X-Men. If you've been hiding under a rock, under an X-Rock, over the last few years, you may not know that present day Hank McCoy brought back from the past the teenage versions of themselves and brought them to the present day, hopefully to show them what basically a mess has been made of the X universe, and things aren't really any better in kind of like the mutant human harmony that Charles Xavier wanted to happen. So he's hoping to show them, you know, what has gone wrong, send them back into the past so they will make a better job of it. However, I didn't read all of this, so I don't know how, the who's, the hows and the wherefores, but basically these young teenagers are now stuck in our present day, their future. So they're basically all teamed up. We have the original team: Jean Grey, Cyclops, Beast, Warren, Angel, and Bobby Drake, Iceman. And it's just a great, fun, young feeling title. We have these teenage X-Men working as a team, which is really good to see. There is the quirks and the tensions between the characters, which I'll come on to, but this felt really fun, and it sounds silly to say given these are really old characters, but it felt a bit fresh. They are there trying to take down two kind of long-term ex-villains in the guise of Black Tom Cassidy and Juggernaut, who are doing a little bit of pirating on the Seven Seas as they're kind of robbing a big cruise liner. So it's up to the teenage X-Men to take them down, which they do. The book's full of action, it's full of humour, there's tension between the characters, and there's some interesting changes that have been made here. Most notable for me is Hank McCoy, the teenage version's use of, it looks kind of like Doctor Strange, Dr. Stephen Strange's kind of magic hands moving around, dark arts, sending Juggernaut through some kind of awful hellish portal and getting rid of him that way, which Scott, Cyclops, isn't particularly happy with. So there is still that kind of tension between the team, but overall, what a great book. What I do love about this book, and I hope that they really push this to the fore, is what we find out at the end of this issue is that they are being led by long-term nemesis, Magneto. Yes, he's been playing good and bad for so long, over so many years, but it's an interesting take where we now have these teenage X-Men from the 60s who were led and informed by Charles Xavier, the kind of good guy of the X-Men, and now being led by the biggest X-Men villain ever in Magneto. So I'm guessing that Colin Bunn is really going to play on kind of the moral, ethical stance of Magneto and the way he chooses to bring about human and mutant harmony, if he's even going to bother at all, because at the moment he seems to be wanting to take down a lot of the villains of the X-Men and kind of show them the error of their ways. But I really like that idea of Magneto mentoring and leading these young original teenage X-Men. I said right at the beginning when all these X titles were coming out that I was going to try each one of the team books to see which one I'd want to pick up. I thought X-Men Gold, despite the controversy that I was completely unaware of until I actually read the news, was a great story, a great book, really kind of solid X storylines, and this is exactly the same but just with the younger members of the team. It could be that I could have 2 X titles on my pull list very soon, but I will be checking out issue 2 of this when it comes out. Finally, and my pick of the week, and without a shadow of a doubt, I think this was the first book I read and I knew it was going to be my pick of the week before reading anything else because it was fantastic. Rick Remender and Jerome Apina and Matt Hollingsworth's 7 to Eternity. This just rubs me up the right way. It ticks so many boxes that I love in comic book reading, especially in the more independent vein that isn't kind of like superheroics. Despite there are kind of allusions to, the kind of team-ups and super groups that you have, like the Justice League, the Avengers. There's that kind of still that feel to it with all these characters banding together. But very overall, this feels very much a kind of Tolkien-esque type tale, the Fellowship of the Rings. Instead of a ring being taken to the kind of mountains of Mordor to drop in and destroy, we have the ring supplanted for the kind of evil villain of the piece, Garil Sullum. There's so much good stuff about this. Remender, solid storytelling throughout this. He really kind of adds so many layers to this book that aren't just kind of like the high fantasy that we have here, the Tolkien-esque vibe to it all. We have the mistrust even between our band of characters. We have Gareth Sullum planting all these seeds of doubts between them all, and you know, this group of 7 is already down, I think, to about 5, and this is kind of pointed out as they travel on towards this this place where they're going to destroy our villain for good. That you just wonder who is on whose side, who is going to survive. Is there going to be anyone by the end of this to throw Garil to kind of like to death? On top of that, my God, Jerome Apina and Matt Hollingsworth just do a fantastic job with the art. It's so well detailed, it's so colourful, vibrant. The characters all have their unique look and their unique mannerisms. The detail in people's faces is just fantastic. I just can't get enough of this. The momentum and pacing of the panels in the kind of where, you know, there's danger around every turn, and finally by the end of this book we have them taking a path which may lead them into much more danger. What a great book! Please, this is issue number 5. I don't know if there's already been or there's about to be a collected first trade of this, but if you can find the original singles, go pick this up. If not, wait for the trade and just love this book because it's fantastic and very high on my best favourite books that I just can't wait to pick up and read. Brilliant book. Hope you are enjoying it too. And that's my books for this week. Thank you for joining me in another comic book review. I will see you on Wednesday with a new comic book video, new comic book day video. You can see what's on my pull list then. I think this week is going to be quite hefty. So until next week, don't forget, if you're new here, subscribe, give this video a big thumbs up, let me know what you thought about the books that I've picked up this week, and tell me something about the books that you are too down in the comment section below. Until next time, bye bye.